Rafael Nadal doesn't fall for Nick Kyrgios's bag of tricks. The second-round duel at Wimbledon had something often lacking in this golden era of men's tennis, an edge. Wimbledon, England, the rematch was just about worth the 5-year wait, as Nick Kyrgios and Rafael Nadal probed each other's characters and explored the borders of their own talents in the second round of Wimbledon on Thursday. Their duel had something often lacking in this memorable era of men's tennis, an edge, as Kyrgios showboated and intentionally smacked balls at Nadal's body, ignoring the glares that Nadal sometimes fired back. But more than that, the match, a 6-3, 3-6, 7-6, 5, 7-6, 3, victory for Nadal, offered an irresistible contrast in styles and, not to get too deep over a tennis match, a contrast in philosophies of life. Nadal, 33, has been maximizing his effort and his talent since he was a teenager. He has 18 Grand Slam singles titles to show for it, including 2 at Wimbledon, and seems to want nothing more than to rest his head on a pillow at the end of a day knowing he has done all he could. Kyrgios, 24 and unseeded at this tournament, still resists full tennis commitment and, despite his extraordinary racket skills and astonishingly easy power, has yet to advance past the quarterfinals of a major event. Nadal is drawn to order and ritual, Kyrgios to disorder and the intoxication of improvisation. Nadal treats all points like matters of state. Kyrgios treats some as if they don't matter in the least. He doesn't take 1 point off, Kyrgios said of Nadal. I feel like we're the polar opposites. Perhaps that rally-by-rally focus was what made the small difference when they returned to the same well-tended patch of center-court grass where Kyrgios briefly rocked Nadal's world in 2014 with a 4th-round upset. Kyrgios was 19 then and ranked 144th in the world. Excitement about his future extended well beyond his fellow Australians. I think we have found the next guy in the men's game, the former American star John McEnroe said on the BBC after watching Kyrgios rain down aces on Nadal, then the world number 1. It has not worked out that way. Kyrgios lost to Milos Raonic in the next round in 2014, and he has yet to advance past the 4th round at Wimbledon since. He has been fined repeatedly for on-court behavior, and he was suspended for 8 weeks in 2016 for lack of effort after walking to his chair in the middle of a point during a tournament in Shanghai. Yet Kyrgios, even without a coach or a seeding at the moment, is still nobody's idea of an ideal opponent. Certainly not Nadal's. Kyrgios is a flickering flame who tends to run hottest against the game's biggest stars. He has a 2-0 record against number 1 Novak Djokovic. He was clearly inspired on Thursday and prepared to push and provoke Nadal out of his comfort zone. That Nadal prevailed anyway was a tribute to his fighting spirit and his staying power. And despite some doubts during this rematch about the nature of the handshake to come, it turned out to be more civil than some of the other interactions in the late afternoon here. Nadal and Kyrgios have criticized each other's behavior in the past, most recently after a February match in Acapulco, Mexico. Kyrgios beat Nadal in 3 tight sets in the second round there, hitting an underarm serve and also getting medical treatment in a win that leveled their record against each other at 3-3. Nadal said afterward that Kyrgios was not a bad guy but also said that he lacked respect for the public, his rival and also himself, and that is what he needs to improve. Kyrgios, in turn, has criticized Nadal's speed of play and attitude in defeat. Before Thursday's match Kyrgios said he was not sure that Rafa and me could go down to the Dog and Fox and have a beer together, referring to a Victorian-era pub in Wimbledon that Kyrgios visited on Wednesday night. But when the two did share the same space on Thursday, their shot-making was often spectacular. Kyrgios had 29 aces, one of them with an underarm serve in the first set that caught Nadal by surprise. Kyrgios won another point with a tactic he is bringing into vogue. But more than anything else, he relied on huge power, blasting one full-force forehand from the baseline directly at Nadal at the net, when the score was 4-4 in the third set. Nadal barely managed to block the shot with his racket in self-defense before it put a dent in his chest. Nadal shot a long, accusatory look over his shoulder as he went back to the baseline. No apology was forthcoming. "Why would I apologize?" Kyrgios said. "I mean, the dude has got how many slams, how much money in the bank account. I think he can take a ball to the chest." It is not that Kyrgios breaks the rules, although that does happen. It is that he breaks the sport's codes, some of which Nadal holds particularly dear. "The history of this sport is about respect and is about playing fair during the whole time," Nadal said, perhaps forgetting some of the sport's history. "I don't say Nick does this stuff to bother the opponent, but it's true that sometimes he's dangerous. When he hit the ball like this, it's dangerous. Not dangerous for me. Dangerous for a line referee, dangerous for a crowd. When you hit the ball like this, you don't know where the ball goes." Kyrgios can get under a champion's skin, but you cannot take your eyes off him, even if there are moments when you wish you had. Barely a spectator moved from the seats during this 3-hour match. Plenty of other top-notch tennis stories were unfolding elsewhere on the grounds. Britain's own Andy Murray was returning to the doubles court after hip surgery. Serena Williams was struggling to win against the teenage qualifier Kyrgios. But Nadal-Kyrgios was undeniably and understandably the main attraction. In the final 2 sets, neither player had a break point, but Nadal prevailed in both tie-breakers to earn a spot in the 3rd round. He will face another dangerous but much less combustible opponent, Jo-Wilfried Tsonga of France. Kyrgios will focus on mixed doubles and, if you believe him, probably not worry too long about what might have been. "I know what I am capable of, just depends," Kyrgios said. "I'm a great tennis player, but I don't do the other stuff. I'm not the most professional guy. I won't train day in, day out. I won't show up every day." With that remark, Kyrgios offered another reminder of how much he differs from Nadal. "He has a lot of good ingredients," Nadal said. "But of course there remains an important one sometimes, and that is love, the passion for this game. Without really loving this game that much, it's difficult to achieve important things."